If you notice it, what's always talked about is, tignan nyo lahat ng mga mayaman, lahat ng mga tayo pa nag-real estate na sila. Tignan mo lahat ng mga naging sobrang yaman, they're into real estate. There's one thing that's not talked about. Majority of them built their stockpile of properties and lands and they land bank when they were already rich, when they had that massive amount of money already, when they had that stockpile already. Hey guys, so in this video, I want to talk about something that is very interesting that a lot of you have been asking. When is the time that you start buying raw land, but it's something that you would just leave for the long term and let it grow for you? Because there's so much talk and there's so much also analysis in this, and I want to shed my own information from a entrepreneur and from a stock market investor point of view. So please do note this, I'm not a real estate expert, but I just want to share my thoughts and my ideas on this with one goal in mind, to just genuinely help you and give you my perspective on this, so you can also make the right decision when it comes to your money and when it comes to your investments. You know naman what I've been talking about all the time. It's all about multiple streams of income. It's all about creating assets. It's all about building a base that later on, when you are older, whatever you set aside right now will work hard for you. And that being said, there's a lot of talk about buying land, because land in reality is very scarce, which is true, that the more people we have here on planet Earth, the more scarce land will be. And as you've seen it also, you've seen the trend over the past decades or so, that property, real estate that people have been owning tend to get smaller and smaller through the years. That's why even if you look at it in Metro Manila, or at least in central districts around the world also, people are living in condominiums, people are living in smaller spaces also, because the reality is, over a course of time, property becomes more expensive. When you see more condos available, it will place a premium on anything that's landed. So if you want a template and a context to that, we're seeing it already here in the Philippines, but look at how it is in Singapore, where not everyone gets to have a piece of land. Majority of the ones that are living there live in either condos or apartments or buildings, and the ultra rich, the ones that have large amounts of money, are the ones that have the ability to buy land. In the Philippines, we're not there yet, because the Philippines is relatively bigger also than Singapore, but it's quite evident already on what's going on. So I think the question that you would like to know is this: should you buy land at the start already and then just park it, especially if hindi mo siya titirahan, and then you would just buy something that is in a far area that you can buy cheap, and then you can hold on to it for the long term? I'll answer this from an investment point of view. You buy that land, you stockpile on that land when, number one, you've already found your cash cow. Because if you buy land, think about it this way: until you sell it, you won't really get the value of it. Its value won't actually be unlocked. If it takes a long time for it to grow and it's hard for it to sell, that means that no matter how valuable it is, no matter how big it is, then it won't really be able to help you. So you need to find your cash cow first. You need to find that source of income that will be your bread and butter. So it could be through employment, if your salary as an employee is something that's very high, or it could also be as a self-employed practitioner. Regardless of what it is, if that's bringing you the bacon consistently, then that's okay. Or if you're an entrepreneur, you're a business person, that you already find the business that you can scale that will give you predictable returns over the long term. You need that constant source of revenue. But if you find that source of revenue also that you can scale, meaning it's not just something that's linear in terms of how it will earn for you, but it's something that's exponential. Because if you're a business person, suddenly you had, from having 2 stores, you now have 20 stores. If you are selling e-commerce, from having just 1,000 transactions, you now have 10,000 transactions, etc. So if you find that either linear in terms of income or exponential on how you can grow it through the years, that's a very good plus. But for me, I'll add these 2 items first also before I proceed in buying land. Number 2, it would be nice if you have growth investments, meaning aside from your business, aside from your job, aside from what you're doing as a freelancer, you have an asset that will give you growth, something that you can position into that will give you massive growth through the years. It could be cryptocurrencies, could be stocks here in the Philippines, or it could be growth stocks / tech stocks also in the US, but something that will give you massive growth over the long term that you're building volume on. Third is, I think you need to have cash flow, and that cash flow is something that it could be also real estate, but it could be an apartment, it could be a condo, it could be anything that will give you cash flow. So please remember, iba yung bibili ka ng real estate, tapos pagkakakitaan mo kasi you're getting rental income from it. Iba yung bibili ka ng REITs, tapos hintayin mo yung dividends because you're getting cash flow from it. In the same way, you can do that via bonds. In the same way, you can do that also sa crypto market just by staking or getting savings, then flipping it back into fiat. Or you can do that via high-paying dividend stock. So, possible din yun. You use your business, you use your employment to give you linear or logarithmic growth. You use high dividend stocks, you use REITs, you use preferred shares, you use bonds, you use rental income, you use staking in order for you to get passive income for life. So that no matter what happens to your primary source, to your cash cow, to something that will give you larger amounts of money, you will still be okay. And that being said, when you have that set up already, so please do note, lahat ng sinasabi ko dito, you still need your emergency fund, you still need your insurances, you still need your cash to protect you. Once you have all of that set up, I think it's nice already to position into something na pwede mo patulugin, na hindi ka na mapapressure na, okay, bibiling ko tong lupa na to, bibiling ko tong beach na to in this remote island or in this area in Siquijor or somewhere at the bottom of Palawan or somewhere near Ilocos or somewhere also in Batangas pero hindi pa siya na-develop, that it will take 10 to 15 years before siya magagawa. That's also possible. You can actually do that, and that's what I also suggest, because there will be no pressure for you to sell it, and because you already have your cash cow, because you already have growth investments, and because you also have cash flow, the likelihood for you to be able to pay it in cash is also there. Please remember this, the deals that you can get when you have massive amounts of cash already, because you have your scalable business, because you have your growth investments, because you have your cash flow, will be different, because you can get better deals also if you have the ability to pay in cash and get it lower. If you notice it, what's always talked about is, tignan nyo lahat ng mga mayaman, lahat ng mga tayo pa nag-real estate na sila, tignan mo lahat ng mga naging sobrang yaman, they're into real estate. There's one thing that's not talked about. Majority of them built their stockpile of properties and lands and they land bank when they were already rich, when they had that massive amount of money already, when they had that stockpile already. I really believe that property investing, I really believe buying land is one of the best things that you could ever do, is one of the best things that you could ever position yourself for the long term, because at the end of the day, for sure, over 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years, that's gonna grow massively. As long as there are people here and people need a place to live, to farm, to study, to transport, or whatever reason there is, all of that needs land. Over a stretch period of time, in my opinion, buying land is something that's relatively low risk, but you need to have the patience, you need to have the cash, you need to have the cash flow that while you're actually waiting for it to grow, that you will be able to live a normal life, that you will be able to still grow your investments, you will be able still to hit your financial goals. And when you have that, I think that's very, very amazing, because now you have a hedge also against your stocks. Now you also have a hedge against your business, provided that your property is something that's way different as well. So that could be something that's very interesting to consider, and I highly support buying land provided that you have set all of the things that you need already, because it's land, and because hindi mo naman titirahan, and because hindi mo naman gagamitin. It doesn't even have to be just in the Philippines. You have to consider that there are some countries where you can buy property even if you're a foreigner. So I think it's something also worth considering, that check Philippine properties, but if you can find better deals also outside the Philippines, then I think that would be something that also will be very, very interesting. And number 3, this might be a stretch for a lot of people, but try to consider this: digital land. Especially that there's so many games right now like Axie Infinity and Sandbox where there's a premium on land in the digital space. Now, I think this is something that's totally different also from what we've been talking about altogether. But if you believe in cryptocurrencies and you believe in gaming that's digital, that's off the blockchain, I think this is something that's worth looking at as well. Same context, pera na sobra, perang hindi kailangan kasi meron ka ng cash cow, meron ka ng growth investments, meron ka ng cash flow, tapos papatulugin mo lang. Iba yung kaso if you're putting in your savings from your salary or you're putting in your first million into something na papatulugin mo. Don't do that, because you will strap your cash flow, you will strap your cash, you will strap your potential to make more. You will remove the potential that you can actually make more if you put it in something else that could be like a business or an investment that will give you growth. You can get more cash flow also into something that you know people will be paying for on a regular basis. If you are using your salary income, don't buy something na tulog. Get something that will be productive, get something that will benefit the economy, get something that will allow you to grow what you have. What will make that interesting is that pwede mo na rin siyang pamana later on, especially as you start to see it appreciate in value as well. And it's something I think that you can also give your family and relatives and people that are dear to you. I hope that this was something that was insightful. I hope that this also helped you and gave you insight also on what I'm actually thinking, because at the end of the day, I'm still a stock market person at heart, and I love the liquidity of the stock market. I love the liquidity of crypto markets. I love the liquidity of forex markets, because when I want to sell it, I can sell it anytime I want. If I want to get out of that position, I can get out anytime I want as well. The difference between property is that kung gusto ko lumabas, I'd have to wait eh. But in turn also may advantage yun kasi it's harder to get emotional into an asset that alam mo, hindi mo mabibenta kagad. And I think that's its upside also compared to stocks, forex, and crypto, that madaling maging emotional for something that you know is liquid. If you want to know more about property, we have links below on our playlist for real estate investing. I'm trying to think about a masterclass course to do for property. Links are in the description below as well. Then aside from that, if you want to trade the cryptocurrency markets, you want to trade the forex markets, and you want to trade the US markets for $1 only, guess what guys? You can now buy US stocks for $1 only. Check out GoTrade below along with the token code. Check out Binance for you to be able to trade crypto markets for as low as 500 pesos per trade. Then you can also check the forex markets where XM will give you $30 extra when you sign up an account with them. And I'm doing a fundamental analysis course happening this August. Check it out down below. And also a technical analysis course, the last one for the year, which will be in the fourth quarter. Links are in the description. And if you want to grab a copy of my book, check it out via Lazada and Shopee. So that's it for now. I hope that this was something that added value to you. And if you want more videos like this, like, share, subscribe, and smash the bell so you get updated every time I come up with new content about investing. And I'm just curious about this. How about you? What's your thoughts? Are you willing to buy land now? Or are you willing to wait when you develop a cash cow, when you have growth investments and cash flow as well? This is Marvin Gurmo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon guys, and God bless you all.